So let me share this because I know someone can be encouraged. So yesterday, I get a knock on my door in the morning. Now, I don't get much sleep. So sometimes I don't fall asleep until about 5 or 6 in the morning. That's a true statement. And it's been like that. It's like that. When you live with pain and just things in the body, and the body's constantly, feels like attacking itself, it's hard to rest. Like the nighttime is the worst time. And so by the time I'm able to fall asleep, it's like I need to rest. And so I had just fallen asleep like around 5 or 6 in the morning, and then 9 o'clock in the morning, someone's at my door. And I'm like, so I opened my Ring camera and it was this woman standing there. So I'm like, hi, can I help you? And she starts telling me that, she starts going into what she needed. She needed our help with something. And I said, hold on, let me go to the door. So I go to the door, I open it, and then she starts sharing with me like what she needed. I never met her in my life. She told me where she lived in my community, and I said, okay, so where we are located, the park is right on the other side. And so because of that, sometimes people used to cut through our grass to go to the park. And the park has this large grass area where a lot of people in my community, when they're having a family party, they have it back there. We've had so many people have parties back there. It's just, that's where they have the parties in our neighborhood. And so basically they were going to be having, like a kids party for 2 days, and they needed to use the water. And they were asking if they could use our water. Now, we pay for water. So I was stunned. Like, I didn't understand. So long story short, I told her, I'm going to call you. Give me your number. So at first I was not gonna do it. I'm like, what? I don't know this person, and they want to use our water for 2 days. Like, how much is that gonna be? And my husband, he says, he looked into like how much it would cost or whatever, and he's like, and she was offering like, we'll give you money. So it's not like she didn't say that, but she says, so my husband says it's gonna be okay. Now, inside, I'm like, it's going to be okay, because I'm still thinking, like, how much is that bill going to be? Like, hello. But he's like, it's going to be okay. I'm not going to take anything from them. I'll give her a call. So he gives her a call. He tells them, yes, they can go ahead and use it. And then he tells her, if my bill is outrageous, I'll have to call you. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Like, it's all good. I'm sorry. I can't breathe. So fast forward to like a couple hours later, and I'm praying and I'm thinking about this, and I'm convicted because I'm like, yo, not to say the Lord, yo, but sorry. I'm like, that's how I think. So I'm thinking, how could I, not want to help? Like, the Lord provided an opportunity for us to be of assistance to someone who needed it. And the first thing that I thought about was like, how are we going to do this? Like, what are we going to do? And I was telling my son today, because he was asking me, so they're using the water, because he saw the water being used today. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, how much did they give you? And I started laughing, and I said, nothing, Daddy. And I decided that they don't have to give us anything unless the bill is like completely outrageous. Like, we don't know what it's going to be, but if we need help, we're going to have to let them know. And so he says, like, he kind of looks stunned too, my son. And I understand, because we keep in mind, we've never met them. But then I told my son, it was a perfect opportunity for me to tell him, I felt the same way you're feeling right now. But I had to actually go before the Lord and ask for God to forgive me for those thoughts, and thank him that I was able to, surrender and submit to the will of my husband, who was saying, it's going to be okay. It's fine. Don't worry. We're going to be all right. And I'm worrying, like, but how are we going to, and I tend to do that. And so I wanted to share this because it was the perfect opportunity to let my son know, Sometimes we are presented with opportunities to serve others. And if I say that I love to serve others, which I always say, and now I have this opportunity to serve someone, why wouldn't I want to go that extra mile? I don't know what it's going to be. We're completely dependent on the Lord when it comes to his provision. But you know what? God has never failed my husband and I. He has provided for us in ways that only he can. It's just what he does. It's who he is. And I'm constantly, I worry. I'm a worrier sometimes. And I'm always like, well, how are we going to do this? And, well, what's going to happen here? And God is always, always seeing us through and always providing for us. So much so that the reality has become, I have learned to be content. Paul says, I have learned to be content in high places or when being brought low. And if you read Paul's letters, you know that he was humbled and brought low more than once. And in those moments, he learned contentment. He learned service, to love the Lord, to continue on, to take the opportunities to serve where that's the opportunity God gave us to serve him. And I actually reached out to the woman and I apologized to her because I had her number. So I reached out to her and I'm like, I'm sorry that I was like rude. In the morning, first of all, I was taken back. I had just fallen asleep like a couple hours before you knocked on the door. So I was like already taken back. And then when you asked me that, it was, but then I told her like it was, the Lord provides for us. And this is a great opportunity. So yeah, sure. And I just wanted to share that, this is not about, I don't need anybody to comment down below, like, good for you, good on you, sister, like none of that. I'm just saying, I just think that it's really beautiful when the Lord humbles us and he shows us, but this is the opportunity that you can serve and go and do this thing. And it's no pat on your back. It's the reality is the Lord showing me my first response to that invitation. And my first response was to worry and to be like, what? And to be taken back by, this lady knocking on my door. Like most people be like, what? But the Lord has called us out from being most people. And he doesn't want us to be most people. He wants us to take the opportunities that are given to us and to acknowledge when our reactions were the way they were, but when we've changed our mind about it. And so I'm always in awe of what God does. Even in these things, I'm just always in awe how he does things. And so I just wanted to share that today. I was telling my husband because I'm not feeling good. And I said, it's always when I don't feel well. It's always when I feel at my worst that the Lord does encourage me with words to give to others, like those acts of service. But I was so disappointed in myself on how I reacted when she knocked on my door. But then the Lord was like, he didn't beat me down. He didn't take out the belt and be like, why? No, he didn't say, oh, you ain't no Christian. No, he just showed me, you see your reaction. Like, that's not the reaction I want you to have. And I'm like, man, it's always humbling to know that it doesn't matter how long you've been walking with Jesus. The work continues. It doesn't stop. There's a saying for those who drink from the well of Reformed theology. It's Semper Reformanda, always reforming. And it means that as we're in the Word of God, we're always changing. We're always changing our mind about things. It doesn't mean we've changed our mind about the gospel. It means we're always changing our mind about our own behavior, about ourselves. When the examination is on ourselves and the Lord is saying, do you see how you reacted? Did you see? Like, that's not, and it's like, man, Lord, because he's our Father and he's teaching us and he's guiding us. And that was a perfect opportunity for the Lord to teach me about my reactions and the perfect opportunity for me to share with my children, this is how mommy reacted. This is how it was wrong. And this is how I changed, we changed our mind about it. I changed my mind about it. And I was able to submit to the will of my husband because my husband submits to the will of God. And there's nothing more beautiful than submitting to the will of God. So be encouraged.